Schools say more students have anxiety and can't cope because of the pandemic.
News 3's Madeline Parker spoke with mental health experts on the resources necessary to help students thrive in a post-COVID world.
Feels to me that it's a skyrocket in anxiety.
The pandemic was hard on many people, but especially kids.
Kids who going to high school, they were not able to go to school, and I think they're in sophomore now, and this is the first time they're going to school in person.
Psychiatrist Naeem Qureshi says the pandemic left an impact on kids mentally.
Of course, but because of isolation, we saw more depressive symptoms, more anxiety, and then social interaction that was missing. Some of the kids do not know how to be in class.
The SIH Community Health Needs Assessment found 40% of 10th grade students felt sad or hopeless every day for 2 weeks or more in the past year. That's compared to the state percentage of 35%.
All right, justice in terms of the distribution of wealth.
Edna Bundren is a social worker and teacher at Vienna High School. Comparing students before the pandemic and post, she sees a difference in her students.
I think in the last couple years, anxiety has skyrocketed, and I think that students are struggling more with that impacting their day in and day out.
When students are struggling with their mental health, Bundren says it impacts everything they do.
Well, it impacts their health, it impacts their ability to focus, it impacts their relationships with their friends, their relationships with their family and their teachers. I've seen it in multiple different ways.
Since the pandemic, Bundren says she is seeing students who more than likely wouldn't have sought counseling services.
Absolutely, there's a lot more students that seem to be struggling with just the ability to cope. It could be students that have just the best grades. It could be students that are struggling just to be able to pass a class. It covers all gambits of situations.
With more anxiety and depression comes struggles in the classrooms. That's where Kaylee Adams comes in. She is Vienna High School's Reach Coordinator, a service that adds assistance throughout the day.
That can range from academic assistance and support all the way to helping them connect with the services that they might need. Oftentimes I am a person that the students can go to that's not necessarily sitting in a counseling role, and I'm kind of a bridge between the academic world, the counseling world, and the student.
Adams saw more students needing her services in the pandemic as the anxieties of students continued to increase. But having services to help address the anxieties is part of why Adams says the students are able to bounce back.
Students have to have those basic needs met before they're in a place where they're mentally ready to sit in a classroom and engage in those learning activities with our teachers. So it's crucial that they know that they're in a place that is caring for them and providing for them, and that they feel that support.
And while anxieties are still high, Bundren believes the resources available to kids are helping students thrive.
I mean, I think it's still high, but I've seen a lot of improvement in ability to cope with anxiety, and a lot of students really reaching out for those resources and coming back and talking about some of their long-term plans and how they're beginning to reach those. So I do feel like I'm seeing benefits.
In Vienna, Madeline Parker, News 3.
Bundren also says if your student is struggling with their mental health, look to resources in their school. If they don't have someone who can help, they should be able to direct you to resources in your community.